But yeah, just how are things? How is it going over there?
All is well. Settled in pretty nicely.
All right, all right. Getting to and see the scenes or anything? Enjoy any of the life out there?
Not yet. No, I'm on business right now. I got a bunch of interviews, and I don't know if I'm here to promote myself or promote Savannah. I don't know, but I'm just here.
Well, I'm happy to promote you, Clarissa. So let's talk about your career, and I want to go back to the last fight and congratulate you on that last win against Kelsey DeSantis, getting back in the win column in MMA. First fight since 2021, so a good little break there for the cage action. But I'm curious, you noticed how happy were you with the performance? Was it difficult for you to return after that break, or getting easier to balance things with MMA and boxing? Just how was it overall?
MMA is always tough to come back to. Um, but I had been doing some training here and there off and on. I wasn't able to be as dedicated as I wanted to be, but I know a few months before the fight actually got announced, I was actually already training, like getting back into the swing of the jujitsu and the cage work and the groundwork. I had already started. So to get the fight date and everything was actually more motivation. But it's like when you go that long and you don't do it, it's like you have to reteach yourself everything all over again. And then once you get it, it's like, okay, now I got it. We can work on more things now. So I'm with a whole new team and who I think is a great team Murciago out of Lansing, Michigan, and Coach Joaquin and Coach Justin are just, I mean, the best coaches that I've worked with so far in MMA, and they understand my goals and we're realistic, and they make me work very, very hard.
I'm curious, because it was your first MMA fight after the close loss to Abby Montez in that one. And I'm curious, like, did that deter you at all from sticking with MMA, or did it make you more hungry to do it and you just waited for the right opportunity? What was kind of the mindset and reflection on that fight to get ready for this last one?
Well, I'm a world champion in boxing, so even though with the split decision loss to Abby, it was like I still have to get, I still have to defend my title. So I always have to pick myself back up and not really, be too down about it. But also too, I have to give myself some grace because I'm not an MMA fighter, and I haven't been. Well, I wasn't at the time, and I hadn't been doing it for long. So to be in there with the fighter who was, undefeated and had a wrestling background and everything. Listen, I did my best, and I guess it wasn't enough. To me, I felt like it was enough to get the W, but I guess to the judges, they said it was a split for her. So it wasn't something that I just kind of lived. I just got back in the gym, got back to boxing, and I just told myself I have to build from that when I come back to MMA. But I had some business to handle in MMA. I mean, in boxing, which I make way more money than I make in MMA. So being world champ in boxing is still my priority, and to keep breaking records and keep fighting the best. So I had to go handle a couple of girls who was doing a whole bunch of talking. And once I got them out the way, then I was able to focus back on MMA again.
Yeah, of course. And I imagine that's kind of nice for you to be able to stay that busy between both sports, right? Because let's say you didn't have boxing, then it might be a lot easier just to dwell on that mentally, right? So I'm sure it was nice for you to keep the mind distracted maybe and get back to business as soon as possible.
I'll tell you one thing: the goat don't ever stay down for too long. It just ain't in me. I'm an action person, so if something don't go my way, I don't sit there and cry about it. I get back in the gym and figure out what went wrong, and we fix it and we work on it. I don't think there's many fighters who have that kind of mentality. Like some people like to kind of soak in their wounds and lick their wounds a little bit. I'm not one of those people. It's like I don't like to soak. I like to, what you gonna do about it? Okay, you lost the fight, so what you gonna do about it? Like crying and being all sad about it, it doesn't fix anything. Something my grandma used to say is crying don't change shit. My grandma used to always say that crying don't change nothing. Like what is crying doing except for making a whole bunch of noise and wetting your face up? Nothing. It's not doing anything. So I'm a person that if something happens bad, I just get back in the gym and train. Just like in a fight, if something happens bad, I'll leave that round behind and I'll move to the next round and just do my best to win. But to just I don't never let myself stay mentally stuck anywhere. It's just I don't know. I think that God blessed me with a strong mind at a very young age, and I've just been strong ever since.
Yeah, I mean, you've been proving that, and of course, some wise words of wisdom there. Can't agree more. So, good stuff there. But as we got coming up, though, getting back in the ring, Claressa got that boxing match next month against Vanessa Lapage-Joanisse, if I pronounce that properly, in Detroit too. I mean, how excited are you for this one? Just what do you make of the challenge? And I'm sure it's always fun to fight in the hometown, right?
I love fighting in Detroit. To be given this opportunity to fight at the Little Caesars Arena again, 18,000 people. The last time I fought there, I had 12,000 people come out for me. So I know that this fight will have more, and I'm just excited. And to just even bring attention to the heavyweight division in women's boxing. Like, I'm going up 2 weight classes, and I mean, like, these girls are big punchers. They're strong. Um, Sometimes what gives me that push in camp is thinking about what's the worst thing that can happen and making myself train as hard as I can so it doesn't happen. And the worst thing that can happen in this fight is that this heavyweight girl catch me on the chin and put my lights out. That's the worst thing that can
Right.
happen. So I'm in the gym training constantly, working on my strength, building on my neck, working on my defense, squats, benching, so I can be strong. Just if I gotta, I'm gonna have to keep the girl off of me. I'm gonna have to hold her off with something. So I've been in the gym, working on that, and I'm really excited and nervous at the same time about this fight. But if there's anybody that can go from middleweight to heavyweight and win a championship in boxing, it's myself. And I'm, just following in the same footsteps as a Roy Jones did. And um, I have confidence that I can come out victorious as long as I stay focused and just focus on a game plan.
It's been kind of, I know, talking point a little bit with, I know, all the great women boxers out there right now, yourself included, of course, right at the top. But we have the Katie Taylor rematch coming up there with Serrano. Might be delayed at the moment, but I bring that up just because they've been going back and forth about being the best in the world right now. And so for you, I want to say, who do you think is the second best female boxer right now? Because we know you're at the top, but who would you say from your perspective, being in the group, like when you analyze everybody else, who is number two right now?
I mean, it really is between those two girls. It's between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, and they can decide who's number two by who wins in the fight with them. Like both of their fights, well, they only fought once, but their fight was close. You have people that say that she won, people that say that Katie won and Amanda won. Personally, I had seen the fight being 6-4 for Katie, but when I look at, as far as in the fighters themselves, I think that Amanda make a few tweaks and turns. She can be victorious, but I don't know if she'll make those adjustments. But I know that Katie is great at adjusting. And I seen that when she fought, like in her first fight against Delphine Persoon, compared to her second one. First fight, I'm like, whoa, this fight is extremely too close for me to even judge. But then the second fight, you can see where she made her adjustments, where she didn't get hit as much. She turned her more, pushed her into the ropes, had better defense, had more hand speed, and was able to even touch, Delphine Persoon to the body, which slowed her down. But you can tell that she won that fight. But their first fight was so close. I'm like, man, I don't know, who won this fight. So she is great at adjusting. So I wonder what will be her adjustments for this fight. And if she make the right adjustments, she can make the fight be wider
Yeah.
for her, but also too, Amanda can make some adjustments and she can actually win a fight because she is the bigger puncher out of the two. So right now I see it as Katie being number two and Amanda being number three.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's certainly a fair assessment, especially just with how close the fight was, how good it was, and it will be fun to see how the rematch plays out. But I'm curious though, Claressa, like you said, all the history you're racking up and the accomplishments, the record, really just doing it all in boxing. Like, how long do you hope to extend your record in boxing? Is it just like take all the divisional titles like you're planning to do here? Is that pretty much when you're like, all right, I beat everybody in each size? Like, what is kind of the end goal for how much more you can possibly do?
Um
Not to put a
I
cap on things necessarily, but
I just I just told myself, until I can't whoop these girls no more, then that's when I'll retire. And I don't know if I'll be 50 or I'll be 45 or I'll be 38 at that time. I really don't know. But as long as I can glove up, train, and I can outskill and outpunch and I can beat these girls, I think I'm going to keep doing it till somebody comes along and proves to me that I can't. And there's always a new up and coming rising star. There's always somebody. So the girl who can give me a run for my money probably hasn't even been born yet. So we will have to see within the next, coming years if someone is born who can give me a run for my money. But I think for the next 10 years, I don't think none of these girls will be able to do nothing with me.
yeah, I mean they'll have to catch up at that point, right? so, so a lot of work to do. But obviously, you mentioned the Savannah Marshall thing earlier there, Claressa. I'm curious, like aside from her, just in general, do you think that you'll fight an MMA again this year? Obviously, seems like that is the PFL's hope and plan, maybe for you guys. But obviously, you got the boxing match next week, first order of business, next month, excuse me, and all of that. But I guess if you had to think, are you hoping to fight an MMA again this year?
Um, at the beginning of every year, I already pick out my schedule. So the
Mm,
schedule for this year was PFL beginning of the year, which was February, then boxing July and boxing December.
mm,
Boxing December because I have my movie coming out about my life coming out in December with MGM Studio. So that was the game plan.
mm-hmm.
I haven't heard much about what PFL want to do with Savannah and me or whatever, but Savannah knows that I don't change my schedule around for her. I never have. I'm not going to change it. What I have to do and what my goals is to make her comfortable. If she's doing MMA, she should focus on doing MMA, or if she's focusing on both, and she should make her own path without including Claressa Shields in it. But it's kind of hard to turn down any chance of punching her in the face, to be honest with you. So I have some things to think about, but if the opportunity comes, I'll talk to my team and we'll see. But I already have my year planned out.
Right.
But I mean, we could possibly fight next year, you know. But I haven't heard about anything else. I think you said September, and I haven't heard much about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So things are pretty fluid, it seems like. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, should
Mhm.
don't have to change for anybody. You got your plans in mind. So there you go. But
Sure.
I wanted to bring this up though, Clarissa, because you and Cyborg had a little bit of banter a while ago, and I thought you guys used to be friendly, and I just wanted to bring it up because like what happened? As I remember seeing you guys train and everything. Are you cool now, or just what kind of happened with all of that?
Just plain and simple. People from Saudi reached out to me about having money for me and her to have a boxing match. They were considering it to be like a Tyson Fury versus Ngannou, right?
Hmm.
I called her up. I'm like, hey, this is what we got because we were friends,
Yeah.
and let her know what was the money on the table. Cris and I gave her the weight class, like 154. That's the lowest that I fought at in boxing. And then I thought me and Cris were good, and I gave her the guy number. Her and her team were talking to the guy, and then all of a sudden, the guy's calling like Cris doesn't want to fight. She says she wants to fight you at 147 or at 145. I'm like, I'm not going down that low. I've never been down there. And this is the opportunity that came from me. So of course I'm going to pick the weight class. I didn't tell her to come to 60. I said fight me at 154. Now me and Cris both walk around at the same weight, 170, 175. So for her to make it seem like going to 47 is just the best thing to do, is like, no, it's not. That's actually
Right.
draining me of my power and not making it be a fair fight, even though it's like if I wanted to make 47, I could, but it's the fact of like, why? So we went back and forth about that, and then all of a sudden I just woke up one morning and she was making posts saying that I'm scared to fight her at 47. She'll knock me out at 47. I want to fight her at 54, but if we fight at 54, she want to wear 8-ounce glove. I told her I don't. It doesn't matter about the glove size. I don't give a fuck if you want to wear 4 ounces. You're still not gonna beat me in a boxing match. Let's just make the fight happen. And then it just kind of went silent after I agreed to the 154 with 8 ounce gloves on. So I don't think Cris ever really wanted to fight. And I think that she just was trying to bring attention to her boxing match that she had coming up, which no one talks about her boxing match that she had. Nobody knows who she fought. But hey, she just wanted to do something that's similar to me being boxing and MMA. But Cris knows that I don't fear her. And I don't really have patience for anybody disrespecting me. So that's why
Mhm.
when I see Cris on the internet and she was saying that I was scared to fight against her and all this other stuff, it just like really pissed me off. So when I seen her in person, she wanted to be friendly and I was like, don't try to be friendly to me and you were just talking all this crap online. Like keep that same energy. And when I get mad, I'm not really the nicest girl. And I had to let her know that, like, this is how I treat my friends. But
Mhm.
as far as you not being a friend now, this is how I will treat you and this is how I will be around you. But I ain't fake and I'm not going to be acting like something didn't happen that happened. Like, she betrayed our friendship for the internet and for clout. And I don't know. I just told her, just go on ahead and we ain't got to be cool and we ain't got to kick it. But if she ever want to fight, we can.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair, and I understand the frustrations. Nobody likes to kind of see the two faces, so I totally feel you. And I think she's got another boxing match coming up soon, so she's trying, she's pursuing that. So I mean, I guess we'll see.
Nobody's talking about it. I haven't heard a thing about it.
Yeah, they are what they are. But all right, Clarissa. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It is great to catch up with you. Before I do let you go, I want to say that we have met before, and it was before your Abby fight. My hair was longer, so you don't probably remember. But I bring that up because I asked you about things you like to do outside of fighting. And so I want to ask you now, if you never got into fighting, what do you think you would do? And I remember we talked about your karaoke and the fun
Yeah,
things
I
you
was
like
just
to do
gonna
with
say
TikTok dances and stuff.
karaoke. I, I will be a singer. I will play basketball. Honestly, like any type of dancing I would be doing, but I definitely would be trying to be like a singer or something because karaoke is one of my favorite things to do.
Of course, still the Tina Turner, right?
Hey, you got a good memory.
Oh yeah, I got you.
That's the one.
All right, Chris. Well, maybe we can get some this week, but enjoy it out there. Thanks so much for catching up, and looking forward to the
Of
fight
course.
next month as well. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it.